Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. I want to talk a little bit, even though I said I wouldn't talk about comedy this month. I do have to talk about my last show at the Mercury. It was last night. I was generally happy with it, and some things happened that happen a lot of shows. Some things happen that don't happen a lot of shows, but I had a great time. I'm very proud of the shows I've booked. I'm proud of the money we've made for charitable organizations. And I'm just proud that I stuck in there. I lost a decent amount of money over the last 3 years trying to keep this thing going, but luckily it's not like I'm destitute because of it. That's basically my hobby. So if you spend maybe $1,000 a year on your hobby, that's not so bad, right? Like $100 a month on your hobby. That's pretty much I think what it came to. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. Last night was interesting. There was I was kind of semi hitting on a person, semi not really, because you don't really do that as a host. But there was a really nice looking woman in the audience. Come to find out she's 57, and she looked 40. I swear, she was amazing looking. She was with two friends, a guy and a girl, and then it was her, and she was pretty vocal right off the top. And I should have probably discouraged her being vocal, but I had the attitude like, hey, this is my last show, let's have some fun. So I went back and forth with her a little bit and said, I'll be talking to you later, ha ha ha. And then throughout the show, she drank more and more, and she got more and more vocal until the end. At the end of the show with the headliner, she was absolutely just like trying to finish his jokes and just thinking she could discuss it with him. Finally I said, hey, please. And another guy, like 10 seconds later, said, shut the fuck up. Because it was getting ridiculous. For a while, it's fun. I can tell you, as a person who does comedy, you're not helping. It's still a form of heckling. I have friends that do it too sometimes. I think that I don't want you to finish my joke, and you don't come off as smart if you finish my joke. You're just coming off as a spoiler, really. And so that's a frustrating thing for comics. I mean, the comic who headlined, his name is Zach Moss. He's great, a funny guy, super nice, smart guy. I love the guy. I'm actually really pleased that he came to be the headliner of my last show. And even eventually, he's just he's like 15, 20 minutes into his set. He ended up doing like 25 to 30. I only had him scheduled to do 20, but sometimes you're feeling it, and you just keep going. He was, I mean, because outside of her, his set was going really well. People loved his jokes, and they were great. But he finally just told me, like, please. They're like pleading with her, going, please, ma'am, please don't step on my jokes. Please, that's not you. Come on, you know how comedy works. If you like them, laugh. If you don't laugh. But please, don't keep talking during my set. And she finally shut up. And now also the guy that told her to shut the fuck up was like a minute or so before that. So it's just like, and it was kind of funny because I was like, this is an approachable lady. She's nice looking. She seems like she's a lot of fun. And then you realize, no, she's a psycho. She is a psycho that can't handle her alcohol and doesn't understand social mores, apparently. It was really funny, too, because at the end of the show, I was like, I was apologizing to Zach and the other performers, although she may, I was like, as you drink more, I understand you lose your inhibitions, but you also, come on, how drunk can you get at 57 and not have a clue of how you're acting? And eventually, do you need to be in a 12-step program? I don't know. But it was funny. So I'm saying, Zach, I'm sorry, man. I feel like I kind of emboldened her by going back and forth at the beginning and having some fun. And she's like, he's like, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe she would have been that way no matter what. And he goes, John, do not date her. I was like, don't worry. That's one thing. I've never considered myself a great judge of character. Like, my dad's really good at it. My mom's really good at it. So maybe it's genetic. I'm good at it, but I'm not great at it. And I can't do it in 10 seconds. 20 seconds, though, I got you figured out. I was just like, oh no, she's a nut job. But my entire 3 years at the Mercury has been kind of a roller coaster. I started out as a monthly open mic, and wow, some of the people that showed up to those open mics were kind of terrible. We had one guy do like a 3-minute song that he had memorized and had done many times before. You could tell because and the entire thing was like a 2 Live Crew song, just offensive sexual stuff. I mean, it coming in the girl's eye, you name it, it was being done. Whoa, that's crazy. I got some crazy lighting going on now, but yeah. Once again, the lighting cues on it goes out on a coming in a girl's eye, and the lights go out. Okay, great. So, um, but yeah, I mean, the open mics are very fun, especially for the host and like the comics that frequent it. So when this guy who never had been there before and never came after, and had obviously done comedy or at least comedic songs, did this, we were losing it. We're in the back losing it. Everyone else is offended. The waitresses, any people that happen to show up, just regular customers. But we were losing our mind. Not because it was funny, just because if you ever get to go to an open mic, you should really watch the comics and how they react to the other comics. There's a lot of silence, and then there's just when it's a train wreck and it's their friend just dying up there, and sometimes even if it's not their friend, it's so fun to watch. And I may have mentioned this in a former episode, in a previous episode. There's a mic, and it was going again before the pandemic, and they may start up. It's a little Polish restaurant called Kinga's. It's on, or is it Czech? Anyway, it's an Eastern Bloc based restaurant on Colfax and like Corona. So it's on just slightly east Colfax, like maybe a mile east of the Capitol building. And they did a mic there years ago, and this has been a long time. This is probably maybe 8 years ago, something like that I went there. And it was summer, because in the summer they would do the mic on the patio. And it was one of those mics where I showed up late, and plus I was kind of getting more into the scene, and people didn't really know me, so I wasn't getting bumped to go early at an open mic. And so I went near last. So when you go last, most guys have gone home. It's like 1:30 in the morning. They're about to shut down, and there are like 4 of us left. We sit there, and then I was literally like either second or third from last. The last guy gets up, and you could tell he hadn't done comedy before, and he'd been drinking all night. So it was pretty I'm not going to say wasted, but he'd had a few. Let's put it that way. He was pretty drunk, and he gets up there, and I just remember him very vividly. He's a tall, thin, white guy, Clark Kent glasses, flannel shirt, and he just starts talking. But he's drunk, and he sounds like Bill Cosby. His cadence and voice sounded like he was doing a perfect Cosby for like 5 to 7 minutes. We're laughing our asses off. He thinks he's hilarious. He's not. He just happened to mix the right potion that made him sound like Cosby that night. The stories he was telling were not special or funny at all, but he was doing a perfect Bill Cosby, and we were losing our shit. So back to the Mercury. So it started off as an open mic a few years ago. Marilyn, the former owner and now manager of the Mercury, I think she'll manage it for a while until she decides to finally retire. She's been great to me. I've had a lot of good times there. I always enjoy doing comedy, no matter what the capacity. I mean, you get nervous when you got to do like a 20-minute set, like I'm going to do in Grand Junction in a few nights. But I loved running mics. It was fun, and especially the open mics are fun because you make jokes in between. You make fun of the guys afterwards, and that's a lot of fun too. Especially if you're on good terms with them. I have very few people I consider actual friends in the comedy community, but those are guys you can really have a lot of fun with, and even the ones that you're just kind of acquaintances with, you can still have a lot of fun with that too. But I didn't have a lot of hecklers. I didn't have a lot of problems there, except for just not putting butts in the seats. And in the end, that's on me. That's not on the Mercury. That's on me. And we're going to try to pass it off to my friend Jesse Carter, another JC, another guy who's been doing comedy about the same amount of time I have. I think he's in the 10 to 12 year range. He's really good at it. He's funnier than me, and he expressed some interest a few months ago. He said, do you plan on continuing this? And I go, yeah, as long as I can afford it. And of course, my father's situation also has me wanting to put a little more time into his situation. So, but yeah, I was like, let's if I ever can't do this, you'll be the first person I contact. And I was. He came by last night. And we're going to get in contact with Marilyn and the new owners of the Mercury Cafe, and try to keep that going. I hope it does. I hope I can do a monthly showcase there every month, and I hope it's successful. And maybe I'll get on it once or twice. That'd be great too. Not too much else except the Mercury. As much as they tried, they also didn't. It felt like a lot of people in that community, which is very tight, did not want comedians or comedy there. Had a guy one night come up the stairs and tell us we were too loud, and I turned down the mic. He came back again and said, it's still too loud. I go, I'm sorry, that's too bad. Deal with it. It wasn't that bad either. So there's that's the Mercury in a nutshell. Like I said, no regrets, a lot of fun, a lot of money made for good causes, and it's just my time there is done, and I'm hoping around the end of the year to hopefully start something new somewhere, maybe here in Wheat Ridge or Lakewood. All right, thanks guys, thanks for checking my videos out. I hope you're all doing well wherever or whoever you are. Have a great night, day, afternoon, dusk, dawn. I don't know. Have a great one. See you soon. Bye.